Welcome to my channel USA Old Coins. If you've ever wondered if those old coins you have lying around could be worth a fortune, you're in the right place. In today's video, we're diving into some of the rarest US coins, revealing their jaw-dropping values that will leave you amazed. Stick with us till the end, you won't want to miss what these hidden treasures could be worth. Let's get started. Top 1. Have you ever looked closely at your spare change and wondered if any of those coins could be worth a small fortune? Well, today we're diving into the fascinating story of a coin that might just be hiding in your pocket, purse, or even an old coin jar somewhere in your house. It's none other than the 1965 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that seems so ordinary on the surface, but under the right circumstances, could be worth an unbelievable amount of money. Now, if you're already a coin enthusiast, you probably know that the Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932. It was originally minted to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Over time, it became a regular fixture in American commerce, passed from hand to hand in grocery stores, gas stations, and vending machines across the country. But the year 1965 was a turning point, not just for the Washington quarter, but for American coinage in general. That was the year the U.S. Mint made a significant change. They stopped using silver in the production of quarters. Prior to 1965, Washington quarters were struck in 90% silver and 10% copper. But starting that year, due to rising silver prices and a growing demand for coins, the mint transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition, a cheaper metal combination that still resembled silver to the average person. This shift in materials might seem like a small change, but it's precisely what makes the 1965 Washington quarter so special to collectors. During that transitional period, there were many complications and some incredibly rare mistakes. Among the standard copper-nickel-clad quarters, a few were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets, the metal discs used for the pre-1965 quarters. These minting errors weren't intentional, but they turned an everyday coin into an incredibly valuable collector's item. What makes it even more exciting is that these rare silver 1965 quarters look almost identical to the ordinary ones. You might not even notice a difference unless you weigh the coin or test its metal content. Silver quarters are slightly heavier than the clad ones, and they produce a distinctly different ring when dropped on a hard surface. This means a potentially valuable coin could go unnoticed by millions of people every day, unless they take the time to check. Even among the regular 1965 quarters, collectors have found a variety of anomalies and unique characteristics that can significantly boost their value. Some coins may have double dies, unusual minting marks, or exceptional preservation that sets them apart. Coin grading services have evaluated certain examples of 1965 quarters that are in nearly perfect condition, known in the numismatic world as mint state or gem condition, and placed them in very high grades. Collectors are always on the hunt for these high-quality or error coins, and they're willing to pay a premium for them. But just how high can the price go? That's where things get really exciting. Imagine discovering a coin in your collection or pocket change and learning that it's not just rare, but extraordinarily rare. That it's not just a curiosity, but a true treasure. Now let's talk about the value, because this is where the story of the 1965 Washington quarter becomes almost unbelievable. While most 1965 quarters you come across will only be worth their face value, 25 cents, there have been exceptional examples that shattered expectations at auction. These are the coins that defied the odds, with mint errors, extraordinary conditions, or rare silver content, and here it is, the most astonishing part of this journey. One very rare and exceptional 1965 Washington quarter, due to its silver composition and pristine condition, was once sold for the jaw-dropping amount of $135,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single quarter, the kind of coin you might use to buy a piece of candy or feed a parking meter, ended up being worth $135,000. That's more than most cars, more than some people's annual salaries, and all from a coin minted in a year most people wouldn't even think twice about. So the next time you're sifting through your change, take a closer look. That quarter might not be just a coin. It might be a hidden gem. It might be a piece of American history. And just maybe, it might be worth more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching, and remember, treasure doesn't always come in the form of gold bars or diamond rings. Sometimes, it's hiding in the most unexpected places. Like the dusty corner of your coin jar, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more rare coin stories, and leave a comment below if you've ever found something surprising in your pocket change. Until next time, happy collecting. Top 2. Have you ever looked at an old coin and wondered if it might be more than just spare change? Most of us carry coins in our pockets or toss them into jars without thinking twice. But what if one of those coins, one that looks perfectly ordinary, could actually be a hidden treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars? Today, we're going to take you on an incredible journey through history, mystery, and money, all wrapped into one small piece of metal, the United States of America Washington quarter dollar, minted in the year 1971. Now, the Washington quarter is one of the most recognizable coins in American currency. It features the strong and steady profile of George Washington, the first President of the United States, and has been in circulation since 1932. By 1971, it was already a household staple, found in every cash register, vending machine, and piggy bank from coast to coast. But what many people don't realize is that not all quarters are created equal. Some are extremely rare. Some were minted under special circumstances. And a select few carry secrets that could make them worth a small fortune today. Let's talk about 1971 specifically. At first glance, there's nothing unusual about a 1971 Washington quarter. It was produced at two mints, Philadelphia and Denver, and struck using the standard copper-nickel clad composition that replaced the 90% silver content after 1964. But this year holds more intrigue than most collectors realize. Why? Because there are mysterious and rare varieties of this coin that continue to baffle experts and excite treasure hunters. The transition to copper-nickel wasn't flawless. The early clad quarters sometimes had inconsistent metal layering, misstrikes, or weak dies, all of which can affect a coin's appearance and rarity. While most of the 1971 quarters were made in huge numbers and are worth only their face value, a handful of these coins came off the press with errors, or under exceptional conditions that make them stand out, and that's where things start to get interesting. One of the most fascinating aspects of coin collecting is the role of mint errors. In the world of numismatics, these mistakes aren't flaws, they're goldmines. A misaligned die, a double strike, or an off-metal planchet can turn a regular coin into a one-of-a-kind piece of history. And in the case of the 1971 Washington quarter, there are reports of coins that were struck on silver planchets, metal blanks intended for older coins, during a period when silver was no longer supposed to be used. These errors are incredibly rare and highly prized. Even without minting errors, condition alone can skyrocket the value of a coin. Coins that have been preserved in perfect or near-perfect condition, especially ones graded by professional services at the highest levels, can command astronomical prices. These coins are often described as mint state or gem quality, and finding one from 1971 that has never been circulated, never scratched, and still holds its original shine is like finding a time capsule from over 50 years ago. But there's more. Some 1971 quarters have been found with extraordinary features, like deeply struck details, mirror-like finishes, or strong luster that sets them apart from the rest. These coins may look similar to regular quarters at first glance, but to trained eyes, and collectors who understand what to look for, they stand out like rare gems in a sea of ordinary rocks. So what should you do if you find a 1971 quarter lying around? First, don't ignore it. Take a close look. Examine the edges. Does it have the typical copper core showing? Or does it appear silver all the way through? Listen to the sound it makes when dropped. Silver coins produce a distinct, bell-like ring that's unmistakable. If you suspect it might be something special, weigh it. A silver planchet will weigh slightly more than a clad one. And if everything lines up, reach out to a professional coin dealer or grading service to get a proper evaluation. It might just be worth your time. And a whole lot more. Coin collecting isn't just about money, it's about history, legacy, and discovery. Each coin has a story. Each one was minted with a purpose, passed through hands, exchanged for goods, and carried through decades of American life. And some, through a strange twist of fate, ended up being much more valuable than anyone could have imagined. And now for the part you've all been waiting for: just how much can a 1971 Washington quarter be worth? While most are worth no more than 25 cents, an extremely rare version of this coin, struck in error and preserved in nearly perfect condition, has been sold for the astonishing sum of $95,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single quarter, the kind you might pass over or spend without thinking, was once auctioned for $95,000 because of its rarity and condition. So the next time you come across some old change, take a second look. Because buried in that pile of everyday coins could be a piece of history, a forgotten relic, or even a fortune, hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching, and if you love stories like this one, where history, mystery, and treasure all come together, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more amazing coin discoveries, and share this video with your fellow collectors and curious minds. Who knows? You just might be holding on to the next great find. Until next time, keep your eyes open, and happy hunting. Top 3. Imagine walking down the street, buying a snack, and unknowingly handing over a coin worth more than a luxury car. It might sound like something from a movie, but believe it or not, these stories happen more often than people think. Welcome to a world where spare change isn't always just spare, where some coins hide secrets, mistakes, and mysteries that turn them into valuable treasures. And today, we're exploring one of those fascinating stories, the United States of America Washington quarter dollar from the year 1974. At first glance, the 1974 Washington quarter looks just like any other quarter you've seen. It has the familiar face of George Washington on the front, with the words Liberty and In God We Trust boldly stamped into the metal. Flip it over, and you see the proud American eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, wings spread, with olive branches beneath, a symbol of both strength and peace. But what makes this particular coin stand out from the rest? Why are collectors all over the world still hunting for this specific quarter? And how can something that's supposed to be worth just 25 cents possibly end up being worth thousands? Let's travel back to 1974, a time of political tension, economic uncertainty, and change in the United States. The country was still recovering from the Vietnam War, the Watergate scandal was unfolding, and inflation was beginning to hit hard. During these years, the U.S. Mint was trying to keep up with the nation's demands by producing huge numbers of coins. To meet the growing need, the Mint struck hundreds of millions of quarters in 1974, most of them made from the standard copper-nickel clad composition introduced a decade earlier to replace silver. But here's where things get interesting. With so many coins being produced at such high speed, a few errors slipped through, and it's these rare mistakes that have made some 1974 quarters incredibly valuable today. In the world of coin collecting, errors aren't a flaw, they're a feature. And collectors will go to great lengths, and pay big money, to get their hands on coins that tell a story of a moment when the Mint made a rare and beautiful mistake. Some 1974 quarters are known to have been struck off-center, where the design is misaligned due to the planchet not being properly seated in the press. Others show doubling, a fascinating effect where parts of the design appear twice due to a problem during the die creation process. There are even quarters that have been struck on the wrong metal planchet, meaning a 1974 quarter might have accidentally been made using leftover blanks from earlier silver coins or other denominations entirely. These types of errors are incredibly rare, but they can turn an ordinary pocket change quarter into a collectible masterpiece. What's more, the condition of the coin also plays a huge role in its value. Coins that have never been circulated and remain in pristine, mint state condition can be worth significantly more than their worn-down counterparts. A 1974 quarter that was never spent, never touched by fingers, and kept in perfect storage can sparkle with the same brilliance as the day it left the mint. Some collectors and treasure hunters have even found 1974 quarters with extraordinary luster, strong strike details, and nearly flawless surfaces. These are the coins that grading services rank at the very top of the scale, and those high grades command big prices at auction houses and private sales. But it's not just about the errors or condition. What keeps collectors coming back to the 1974 quarter is the thrill of the unknown. The possibility that, somewhere out there, in a forgotten coin jar, an old wallet, or beneath the cushions of a dusty couch, a rare and highly valuable piece of American history is waiting to be discovered. Maybe it's in your home. Maybe it's in your hand right now. If you come across a 1974 Washington quarter, don't overlook it. Check the mint mark. It may have been struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or even San Francisco. Weigh the coin if you can. Examine it for signs of doubling, strange edges, or unusual coloring. Hold it up to the light and see if the detail is deeper or sharper than usual. Sometimes, even a very subtle difference can mean the coin is worth investigating further. If it looks promising, consider having it graded by a reputable service. You might be shocked at what you find. The hunt for rare coins isn't just about collecting, it's about stories, surprises, and unlocking the value hidden in plain sight. It's about realizing that history is still circulating in the most everyday of places, in your pockets, your glove box, or your old piggy bank. And while most 1974 quarters will always be worth just 25 cents, there's always that one coin, the exception that breaks the rule, the kind of discovery that gets collectors buzzing and auction houses excited. And now, the part you've been waiting for. How much can one of these rare 1974 Washington quarters actually be worth? Among the many ordinary coins, there exists an extremely rare and stunning example, a coin with both an unusual error and preserved in nearly perfect condition, that was sold to a collector for the breathtaking sum of $80,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A simple, small, everyday quarter, worth only 25 cents to most people, was once sold for $80,000 because of its rarity, its story, and the perfection of its preservation. So next time you're going through your change, take your time. Because hidden among those coins could be a small, forgotten piece of American history, a coin that doesn't just hold a president's image, but a collector's dream. Thanks for watching, and if you're fascinated by stories like these, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin secrets and treasure hunts, and let us know in the comments if you've ever come across an unusual coin. Who knows, maybe your story is the next big discovery. Until next time, keep searching, and keep believing that even the smallest coin can carry the biggest surprise. Top 4. How many times have you held a quarter in your hand, looked at it for a second, and tossed it into your pocket without a second thought? Probably hundreds, maybe thousands. It's one of the most common coins in circulation. But what if I told you that one of those quarters, yes, one that looks just like the rest, could actually be a hidden gem worth a staggering amount of money? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most overlooked coins in American history, the 1986 Washington quarter dollar. It's a coin you've seen countless times, but behind that familiar face may be a treasure waiting to be discovered. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932, when it was introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. His iconic profile has remained largely unchanged on the obverse ever since, symbolizing strength, leadership, and legacy. But as the decades rolled by, changes in the materials, minting techniques, and economic climate gave birth to subtle but significant variations in these coins. By the time we get to 1986, the quarter was well into its copper-nickel-clad era, having switched from 90% silver after 1964. On the surface, the 1986 quarter doesn't stand out. It features the same front-facing portrait of George Washington, the word liberty above his head, "In God We Trust" to the left, and the year 1986 below his neckline. The reverse side bears the majestic American eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, a symbol of readiness and strength, with olive branches below representing peace. To most, it's just another coin. But to seasoned collectors and treasure hunters, this particular year holds a surprising level of interest. You see, while the majority of the 1986 quarters were produced in mass numbers by the Philadelphia and Denver mints, a few extraordinary pieces managed to escape the ordinary. These coins possess what collectors refer to as errors, or varieties, unintentional differences that occurred during the minting process, such as double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong metal blanks. These kinds of minting errors are incredibly rare, and they're what turn an everyday coin into a valuable collector's dream. some 1986 Washington quarters, for instance, have been discovered with striking misalignments, where the coin's design isn't centered correctly. Others show signs of doubling, where letters or numbers appear to have been imprinted more than once in slightly different positions, giving a ghost-like shadow effect. Even more fascinating are the coins that were accidentally struck on planchets intended for other denominations, such as nickels or foreign coins. These error coins are extremely scarce and can command serious attention from coin dealers and auction houses, but it's not just about the errors. Another critical factor that drives value is condition. Most coins you'll find in circulation have signs of wear, scratches, smudges, worn edges. But once in a while, a quarter surfaces that looks untouched by time. These are referred to as mint state coins, and they are the crown jewels of any collector's stash. A 1986 Washington quarter that's perfectly preserved, with sharp edges, original luster, and no visible wear can dramatically increase in value, especially if it's been professionally graded and given a high score by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. Let's also not forget the impact of the mint mark. Quarters from 1986 were minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, and they carry either no mint mark, Philadelphia, or a D, Denver, just next to Washington's ponytail. While neither mint is particularly rare on its own, the combination of a certain mint mark, a unique error, and high-grade condition can create a trifecta of rarity, the kind that collectors dream about. So how do you know if the quarter in your possession is special? The truth is, it could be hiding in plain sight. You might find one in a roll of coins from the bank, in a yard sale jar, or even as change from your morning coffee. To determine its value, you'll need to take a close look. Check for any unusual characteristics, strange markings, missing features, or differences in weight. Compare it to a standard quarter. If you find anything that seems off, or if the coin looks unusually pristine, it's worth getting it examined by an expert. It could be the start of an unexpected journey into the world of numismatics, and possibly a very profitable one. Now, for most people, the 1986 quarter will never be more than 25 cents. But for a lucky few who come across a true rarity, that little coin becomes a prized possession. It's more than metal, it's history, art, craftsmanship, and mystery, all in the palm of your hand. And finally, here's the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much can one of these coins be worth? Well, one particularly rare and flawless 1986 Washington quarter, featuring a unique error and preserved in exceptional mint state condition, was sold to a private collector for the astonishing price of $63,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single coin, the size of a bottle cap, and once worth only 25 cents, went for $63,000 because of its rarity, condition, and the story it tells. So, next time you get change from the grocery store or dig through an old coin jar at home, take a moment to look. Really look. Because you never know, the coin in your hand might just be the key to a story waiting to be told, and maybe, just maybe, it could be worth more than you ever imagined. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed this deep dive into rare quarters and the hidden value of everyday coins, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more incredible coin stories, and leave a comment below if you've ever found something surprising in your change. Until next time, happy collecting, and always keep your eyes open. Top 5. How often do you take the time to really look at the coins in your hand? Most of us don't think twice about spare change. We toss it into the cup holder, drop it into a tip jar, or let it disappear into the dark corners of drawers and pockets. But every now and then, one of those seemingly ordinary coins holds a secret, a hidden story, a minting mystery, and sometimes, an astonishing value. Today, we're taking a closer look at one such coin, the 1996 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it's just another quarter. But under the right circumstances, it could be worth far more than you could ever imagine. Let's start with a little history. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, originally introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. His timeless profile, dignified and steady, has graced the front of the coin ever since, making it one of the most iconic images in American currency. By 1996, the design was familiar to all, but what wasn't familiar, at least to most people, was the idea that some of these coins would go on to become collector legends. The 1996 quarter was struck at multiple mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You can identify them by looking just to the right of Washington's ponytail. A small letter shows the mint: P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. Most of these coins were made for everyday circulation. Millions and millions of them, rolling off the presses and into the hands of the American people. But even in a sea of millions, rare fish sometimes swim unnoticed. In the world of coin collecting, rarity doesn't always come from age. Sometimes, it comes from error. And 1996 was no exception. During the minting process, mechanical mistakes, misalignments, and leftover materials from previous years sometimes led to accidental treasures. A small number of 1996 quarters left the mint with fascinating flaws: off-center strikes, double dies, and even a few struck on the wrong metal planchets. These errors weren't intended, and they were supposed to be caught before the coins were released. But some of them slipped through the cracks, and today, they're the holy grail for collectors. One of the most exciting kinds of error is the double die, where the die that stamps the coin design shifts slightly between strikes, creating a shadowed or doubled effect in the lettering or numbers. It's subtle, but once you've seen it, you'll never forget it. Another prized error is a coin struck off-center, where part of the design is missing or squeezed awkwardly to one side. These off-center strikes are like fingerprints. Each one is unique, but the rarest of them all might be the wrong planchet strike, when a quarter is accidentally struck using the blank metal disc meant for a different coin, such as a nickel or a foreign coin. These mistakes are almost impossible to spot without careful inspection. But if you do find one, you might just be holding a small fortune. Now, let's talk about condition. The value of any coin, whether common or rare, depends heavily on its state of preservation. Coins that have been circulated for years usually show signs of wear, scratches, worn edges, loss of detail. But a coin that has never been spent, one that's been kept in perfect storage since the day it was minted, is another story entirely. These coins are described as mint state or uncirculated, and they can be incredibly valuable, especially if they're paired with an error or struck with exceptional quality. The San Francisco Mint in 1996 also released special proof quarters, coins made with extra care and polished dies, designed for collectors. These coins were never intended to be used as regular currency, and they often have a mirror-like surface with razor-sharp details. A proof coin in flawless condition, or a rare error coin with no wear and tear, can be the crown jewel of any collector's collection. So how do you know if your 1996 quarter is valuable? First, check the mint mark. Look for anything strange about the design: doubled letters, unusual spacing, or alignment issues. Weigh the coin if you can. A planchet error might be heavier or lighter than normal. And examine the edges closely. If anything looks off, it's worth investigating. Reach out to a professional coin grading service or a reputable dealer. They can confirm whether you found a true rarity, but here's what makes this hobby so exciting: you don't need to be a seasoned expert to strike gold. Valuable coins are discovered by regular people every year. In coin rolls from the bank, in old collections passed down through families, or even in change received at a gas station. All it takes is curiosity, attention to detail, and just a little bit of luck, and that brings us to the grand finale, the question that's probably been on your mind this entire time: what is the most valuable 1996 Washington quarter ever sold for? Well, among the thousands of coins minted that year, one extraordinary example emerged. A 1996 quarter that featured a rare mint error, preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition. A coin that was carefully graded and authenticated by experts. And that very coin was sold at auction for the unbelievable sum of $43,000, yes, $43,000. For a single quarter that most people would never even give a second look. So the next time you have a handful of change, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment. Look closely. Because that one quarter you're about to spend on a candy bar could be something far more valuable: a slice of American history, a hidden treasure, or a fortune in disguise. thanks for watching. If you found this story fascinating, hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible coin discoveries, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever found a coin you thought might be valuable? Let us know, your story could be the next big find. Until next time, keep looking, and never underestimate the power of pocket change.